I still have people that are like, girl, I've been waiting 4 years to get a backpack from you and I'm still holding out. And I'm like, that is so special to me. It's so special to me. Like, I love that. And honestly, that is the kind of thing that like pushes me to still do it. That gives me that creative, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get back in the game. People like and care enough about something that I created to wait years for. That's really fulfilling to me as a maker, to know that other people care about things that I create as much as I do. People want to buy something. That still blows my mind. Like this many years later, somebody wanting to spend a lot of their hard-earned money on something that I made is really, I just think that's special. I don't think it'll ever stop being special to me.
Welcome to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. I'm Kenzie Ashcraft, a boutique owner, firefighter wife, and mama of 2 cowgirls, homesteading on a cattle ranch in Oklahoma.
And I'm Talia Watcott, a Western artist and illustrator, mama of 2, and wife of a mountain man, raising babies in the mountains of Utah.
Together, we share a passion for the Western lifestyle, homemaking, and Indian paintbrush flowers.
We're here to inspire and encourage you as we each create a simple but beautiful life on the prairie.
Welcome to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast of Season 4, Tell Your Story. Today we have Lauren Forst. She is a wife of a 6th-generation rancher. She's a mom of 2, the owner of Native West, creating one-of-a-kind leather bags and creating funny, relatable mom and ranch wife content. Welcome, Lauren. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We've been super excited to have you on. I've been waiting for this episode because we both love you so much. So,
guys, yeah, Kenzie asked me and I was like, me? You want me to do it? Like,
of course.
Your life is so boring. It is. It's really boring, but I'm excited to be here and get to talk to you guys because I love you both. So glad to get to visit with y'all.
Yeah. So this season is, like I said, it's all about telling your story. We wanted to focus this entire season 4 of interviewing people that we know and love here from either social media or personal relationships that are, ranch wives or homesteaders, have a small business. We just kind of want to hear about you and all that you do, and just a place to kind of inspire others that listen in to our podcast. So, with that said, why don't you go ahead and start by telling us your story, give us some info about you, where you grew up, and your family.
Okay. Well, currently I'm in Waurika, Oklahoma. I was transplanted here. That's what happens when you marry a generational rancher. You go where they are. So we are here, and we have 2 kids. We just celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary on the 13th. So that was of April. So that was exciting. And we've been together about, I don't know, 7 years now, 7 years. So, yeah, so it's been a wild ride. It's a unique life for sure. I grew up in Choctaw, Oklahoma, which is like kind of by Oklahoma City. And, yeah, so it was a big shift going from, like, my graduating class was like 500 or so, 600. And then I talked to Robert and he was like, oh, I had like 24 in my graduating. I was like, what? Even a class? I wasn't even one class. So it was a shift, but I love it. I love it here. So yeah, I grew up in Choctaw. My dad was he's now retired. He was a 30-year police veteran. He retired as a major at Midwest City in Oklahoma. And he's been a cop my whole life. And my mom is a U.S. Marshal. She retired a few years ago. So I just had like law enforcement parents, and they, so I was a little bit sheltered. My parents would be like, yeah, you're not going there. We know it goes on. Not like what we think goes on. They're like, we've arrested everybody there. So no, like my mom would arrest him, or my dad would arrest him. My mom would transport him. So, so, but yeah, but it was really fun. I honestly just had like the best childhood. Like, my parents were together since they were 16 years old, so they were like they're just the most precious couple. And I've got like a good, um, that like childhood that everybody wanted, where your parents loved each other and it was so sweet. And everything obviously wasn't perfect, but it was fun. I just have positive things. So that's um something that is unique, I think, because that doesn't always happen. Does not always happen. I
Yeah.
wish it happened more, and I hope we trend that way more in the future, but maybe not. But it's
Starts
okay.
with us, right?
Starts with us. It starts with us. That's for sure. But anyway, so my then I'm trying to think of my lineage of everything. I actually, you're probably I'm like jumping. I'd be jumping here, but I guess I'm trying to say like how I met Robert. It's just the weirdest story and like so random. Like, not it's not random. It was obviously divine intervention, but like so I was living with my friends Sammy Joe BB and Pecos BB, and they were moving. They sold their ranch in Stratford, and they were moving full time in Arizona, to Arizona. And I was like, you know what? I'm going with y'all. Like, what? Why not? Why wouldn't I? And so we actually went to Claremore, Oklahoma, like up by Tulsa, to a ranch rodeo. And we were like 2, 3 days away from moving completely to Arizona. Like, everything was packed. We were just like killing the last few days before we decided to leave. And we were waiting on something. I can't remember what. And so we're waiting, and we go to Claremore, and we're just sitting there watching this ranch rodeo. And a mutual friend of ours, he sat down, and he had a friend with him who was Robert. And Pecos was like, she's gonna kill me for saying this on here, but Pecos was like, this guy is so cute. And she was like, and I was like, yeah, he's cute. But I was just like, I was in a man hating phase of my life. I was like, And she was like, he's so cute. She's like, I'm going to see if he wants a French fry. I was like, okay. And she's like, hey, Robert, do you want one of my French fries? And he was like, no, I'm okay. Thank you. And Pecos was like baby at this point. So he was like, no, little kid, I don't want one of your French fries, you weirdo. And it was just hilarious. So anyway, long story short, we end up all hanging out. And then like, that was it. Like, nothing more, nothing less. We end up moving to Arizona. And then he added me on Facebook at some point, but still, like, I was like, I'm okay. Then on my birthday, so that would have been in April. Then on my birthday, he messaged me happy birthday. I was like, oh, thanks so much. That was it. So in Arizona, it was so hot, like so hot in the summer. So I had I didn't have a nightstand at the time, but I had my phone in my bed, and I didn't have like any blankets on. Like, I had the phone, like I was like spraying myself with water at night because it was just so hot in there. And I guess I was like wallering around. Somehow I texted him jargon on my phone, just like random messages. And he wrote me the next day and was like, I don't know if that's code for something, or like if you meant to message me. I was like, oh no, I did not. I'm really sorry. And so I started laughing, and I was like telling Sam, I messaged this guy, and she was like, well, Laura, you don't have to marry him. You could just talk to him. Like, you don't have to marry him. And I was like, famous last words, because lo and behold, not much later, he was like, moved me back to Oklahoma, which my parents were thrilled about, because they were like, we don't want you to move away from us. And
I'm sure.
so he moved me back, and then the rest is history. Well, no. It's not. The best part of it all is like, I was still in Arizona at the time, and he said, well, like, how are we going to get together and hang out? And I was like, I don't know. And every time we tried to like make it work, didn't happen, like couldn't happen. And I said, well, I'm going to visit my family in New York for my grandpa's birthday. And I'm like, you want to go to New York? And he's like, yeah, you need a date? And I was like, yeah, come on. Joking. Like, there's no way this guy that I met one time is going to come meet my whole Italian family. Like, there's no way. He booked a flight. Our first date was in New York City. Like,
Oh
the
my
most random
gosh.
thing. He stayed a week with me and my whole family, and we did like all this cool stuff. We had so much fun. And then we like went our separate ways, and we were like, all right, we basically told each other like, all right, this is either going to work or it's not. And he goes, if it doesn't work, I know how to get to the airport. And I was like, okay, well, come on. And we had a great time and it was fun. And after that, we were inseparable. So, and now we have 2 kids.
Such a cool story. I love that. I think you've told me the New York part, but I didn't know the stuff before that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was all like total chance, every part of it. And worked out. Worked out.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is so awesome. Like, I just like I've always like wondered because you're like one of those like whenever I look at you and him, I'm like they're like a power couple, man. Like they're just like
Like a model couple.
He's much more together. He's so put together all the time, and I am just like a flower child, you guys. Like I'm all over the place. So
Opposites attract.
Yes, they have to because that's how we
That's
are.
how me and my husband are. Yeah, we're opposites, but it works.
It really does. And sometimes like we drive each other crazy with our like, very distinct personality traits, but for the most part it works. Like we balance. So it plays out well. But yeah. That's it. And then when I was in Arizona is whenever I learned how to do leather work because Sam was like, hey, do you want to like help us get ready for Vegas? And I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. And she was like, I'll teach you. I was like, you'll teach me? She's like, yeah. I was like, I mean, okay, that's great. So yeah, I worked in their leather shop for them and they showed me how to do everything. And then when I moved back to Oklahoma, I was like, hey, can I still just work for you guys, but like from Oklahoma? And Sam was like, no. I was like, what? She was like, you need to start your own business. I was like, I'm not. I feel like that's competing with you guys. I don't want to do that. And she was like, no, you're not. Like, you have your own style. Like, do you. Like, just create. Like, you're creative. You can do this. And I was like, okay. And so then I moved back home and I just started making things I liked. And that's kind of how it began.
I love that. Love it.
oh man, that is so cool. So kind of like I love that little precursor, like kind of like intro into your life, but has kind of like a Western way of life always been something that you have lived? Have you been involved in Western stuff or agriculture, anything like that?
Yeah. So I grew up like in rodeo. So like I did like my mom rode horses all her life. She used to like breeze race horses and she was always had horses. And so growing up for a while for my dad's job, we lived in the city that he worked and I couldn't have livestock there. So as soon as we were able to like leave, we moved out to Choctaw. We were able to get land, get more horses or get horses again. And yeah, so I just um like I was never introduced to like big ranches or like big like agricultural type stuff at all until Robert really. I mean, I knew people obviously, but like never actively a part of it. Actually Sam and Shad were the first. And then I got to help them in Arizona and stuff. But like growing up, I did junior rodeo, like I ran barrels, did all that stuff. Actually, when I turned 16, my mom was like, I wanted a step up horse. Like I wanted a high school rodeo. And she was like, okay, well, we can't afford a new horse and in a car. Like you have to pick one. And I was like, great, a horse. And she was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no. Like, so instead of a car for my 16th birthday, I got a new barrel horse. And that's what I did. And actually he won enough that I was able to get a car too. So I was like, worked out perfect. And
Oh,
then
that's awesome.
he ended up getting hurt. We got in a little wreck and he got hurt. Like, of course, like I went to like one high school rodeo and he got hurt. So that kind of stunk, but it was okay. It worked out. I was a part of it definitely for, I mean, my whole life. And then it was like, I, I started hanging out with Sam and Chad and I was like, oh, there is like a whole world I had no idea about. So I'm still a newbie in the like ranching world. Like there's a lot of things I've learned so much, but like I've also learned that there's so much I don't know still. So I would not at all call myself a hand. I would not call myself a hand. But I can fill a hole and I can ride a horse. So that's really like that's what you got from me. You point and shoot what I've got. Mother-in-law, she's let me help give shots and she's like super like specific. Like she's and her like to tell, in her world, she's like, when we're like branding, when we're like working calves, like that's the most important thing is like their vaccination. So like you need to do it right. And so it's been cool because, most outfits you're like, wherever, stick them, you're good to go. And she's like, oh no, like she's very like scientific with it. She tells me why, she tells me where, she tells me how. So it's been cool to learn that with her. Um, Having kids the last few years, I haven't got to help as much as I've wanted to. You know how that goes. Like you don't, you get to wrangle kids and you don't get to do as much of the fun stuff sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's like taught me exactly how to do it. So it's been pretty cool that way. And Robert's taught me a lot. He's funny because a lot of husbands, they're like when you're working cows, they like yell at you or they're like, what are you doing? Why are you in the wrong spot? And he's funny because he likes to let people learn on their own, like why you shouldn't do something, which is the most embarrassing way to learn, by the way, because you're just out there and you're like, uh-huh. And then you get run smooth over and he's like, now do you know why you don't stand there? I'm like, uh-huh. But I would have loved it if you would have been like, hey, get out of that hole. You're in the wrong spot, Like so that's been that's been fun. But I've learned so much from this place because Stuart Ranch is they're not one dimensional. Like there's so many different ways you can learn about so many different things. And so it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. But I've dabbled. When I say dabbled, I mean like I just was like, what is cow horse? Okay, cool. Got it. What is what is team roping? Got it. What is, like I've just kind of like touched on a few little things. So that's been cool. That's been cool. It's been amazing. It's a really, really cool place. Really cool place.
Well, speaking of Stuart Ranch, let's go ahead and talk about that. So, you currently live on the oldest family-owned ranch in Oklahoma, Stuart Ranch. So tell us a little bit about it and what that is like.
Okay. So Robert is sixth generation. My kids are seventh generation. Mother-in-law's fifth generation. So we're all currently living and working here, which is really cool. So it's the oldest family-owned and operated ranch in the state of Oklahoma. So there are, like I was saying, so many different facets to it. So Robert has a brother, Clay, and then their mom, Terry Forst. She's the ranch manager, and she runs the whole outfit, which is just really cool in my opinion because there's not a lot of women that run full time.
Mm.
She does it. She's such a cool lady. You could have she's been on a million podcasts because she's the cool one. Like why that's why I'm like I'm gonna read it. It's great. Like, 'cause usually we're going to like award ceremonies for tea. So, our kids call her Tea, and so that's what we all call her. But anyway, so she runs the main outfit. So it's a cow calf operation, like commercial cow calf, run about 3,000 head of mama cows a year. And then my husband, which everybody kind of helps with that. There's a couple camp guys, and then Terry kind of runs that outfit. Then they also have quarter horses, Stuart Ranch quarter horses. Terry is involved. She does all like the breeding of mares. There's more mares, but she breeds about 30 mares every year. So there's a bunch of little babies popping out right now, and it's his
Oh.
favorite. Like, and the brood mares live down the driveway, so like we just slow cruise every time we leave, and we just like who had their baby today. It's the best. But anyway, so she runs that. Robert is over horse training, so he's over training everything, and he's got two guys that help him. Garrett and Flint, they're awesome. They help train 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, rope horses. So they're bred for really multifaceted. I mean, they can go cow horse, team roping horses, calf roping horses. We've had dabbled in some barrel horses last year. That was interesting, or the year before. That was interesting. Robert was like, "Oh, okay, this is the different breed. All right, that's fun." Not what he was used to, but and then yeah, and then just all around ranch horses, really. Just they love a horse that you can point, shoot, and go in any direction you want to. So that's been really neat to see, like bring in different types and different disciplines. Um, and then recently, we've never had stud horses because Terry's main focus is the mares. Like she's like, that's what is most important in my opinion is the mares. And So this year, though, or I guess last year, we actually have a stud, and his name's
Oh,
Slammer, and he's like Stevie Ray Vaughan at a 7S Fiesta, I believe, and he is so cool. And so Steve Worth has him in rope. He's roping on him right now, so he's taking him to all the BFIs and all that stuff. He's super cool. So we actually have a standing stud now, which has been pretty fun. And then Robert also, we started Stuart Ranch Meat Company. So we have Stuart
yeah.
Ranch Meat Company, and we're direct to consumer. We just started offering halves and wholes, but we do like primal cuts, ground beef. You can just get on the website, order it, free shipping, and ship straight to you. And it's great. Like we know exactly where it comes from, and it's been cool. It's been Robert's baby. There's like if anybody's ever been in the meat world, it's a whole beast of its
Mhm.
own. But we're finally getting our groove going, and it's been great. And then my brother-in-law Clay, he runs the whole. Oh, Robert also has Corianis, so Bar S Corianis. He does like
Uh-huh.
rope and stock, stuff like that. And then my brother-in-law Clay runs the outfitting. So he just last year they finished the lodge at Stuart Ranch, which it is the coolest. It's so beautiful. It's this giant lodge. You could probably see it if I turn my camera around. It's like across the highway, but it's beautiful. And he does like luxury hunts all year round, and it's been really cool. He's grown that to be awesome. It's really, really neat. We love it. So everybody just is like nobody's does it around here, I'll tell you that much. It's quite a task. It's quite a task.
I love that all of you are so involved. I mean, I know that you say that you're not quite a hand, but like I know that I've seen the part that you and Lindsay play behind the scenes and all of it, and it's really cool to watch too. But I love that just the family dynamic that you're all involved, you all have a role, and I think y'all just operate so well together.
It's there's obviously when family works together, it's never perfect, but
Right.
we live, like we just live right next to each other. It's been really cool, especially with our kids growing up. Like
Yeah.
this was the first year that Arlington, my oldest nephew, he can hop on the buggy and drive over here. So he brought they have three boys. And so he brought all three boys. They just drove over to the house. I was like, and so it begins. Like we either have
Yep.
5 kids or no kids. Like so it begins, like just revolving doors. But that's been cool. But yeah, Lindsay and I like to joke that we've had the most important job, which is bringing the next generation, which I mean, come on, it's the most
Exactly.
deal. Like, come
Yeah.
on. So we like to help when we can, like, um, whether it's helping Terry cook, she cooks for everybody, all the cowboys. So we'll help out with that, or so we just pitch in when we can. Um, Lindsay has a full-time job. Like she is like that girl. She's a corporate girly, and she is knows her stuff. It's awesome. Sometimes I'm so jealous. I'm like, man, that's cool. I don't want to work for myself. And then other times I'm not trying to work for myself. But because I like to like go out. And that was the cool thing about when Robert and I first got together before we had kids. We kind of talked like, what do we want to do? Like what is our goal as a couple? What do we see for our family, for our future? And it was always like, well, at the time he was showing cow horses quite a bit, and he was like, I want my family to be able to hop in the living quarters with me and go with me to like cow horse shows. I don't want to like be by myself and you guys be at home because you have to work. And I said, you're right, like I agree. So that's kind of where the leather business also like blossomed a little bit, because it was something that I knew I could schedule my own time to be able to go
Yeah.
in, or like, like branding, I could be able to go to branding and help out, or bring the kids and, let the kids be a part of it too, because that's important to us. So we just kind of dictated that at the very beginning, that was something that was important to both of us.
Kind of like leading into that. So tell us, you kind of mentioned like that was your goal, but tell us exactly like how you got started with your leather business, and why did you choose this route?
Okay. Well, like I said, I've always been a crafty person. I've always made things no matter what it was. Like I was that person that would be like, that's cute, I'll just make it, and I'd make it. And my mom is a super crafty person, so I've learned it from her, because I just growing up,
Mm.
that's what we did together. Like that was our thing. We just craft. I mean, I remember we would always make our own ornaments every year for Christmas. Like it was just something I grew up with, and so I've always loved creating, um, with any medium, really. I cannot draw. Man, cannot draw. I wish I could. Man, if that was one thing that was like, what talent would you wish you had? That is one of them. That and singing. I wish I
Yeah.
could sing really well. Like, I think I can sing, and then I hear myself, I'm like, no, you can't. You can't sing. Like, you can't. It's, it never fails. It's like you're singing with Whitney Houston, and you're like, gosh,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of good. I'm not a good singer. And then Whitney Houston's voice is not as your background singer, and you're like, no, no, that was her. That was her. That's how I've been drawing. Anyway, I've always just liked creating things. I'm still that way. Like it's a toxic trait. I'm like, I can make that. I don't need to buy it. I can make it. And then I'm like, $300 later, I did make it, but I should have just bought. So I have learned though, as becoming a maker, to like to appreciate other artists and how far they are in what they do, because like you can dabble in anything, but somebody that's really good at their craft is like, man, that's worth something. That is worth just buying that because I can't do that. That's
Mhm.
what's
Yeah.
but I will make my own doormat or something. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it kind of started there. It started just with like liking to make things, and then when I was helping Sam and Shad with Rail 3 Ranch, and their bags, I was like, man, I really like this. And then it was like, I want to make my own purse to carry, and Sam would be like, oh yeah. So then I put my own spin on it, and it was completely different from what they were doing. I mean, same medium, but just totally different style. And that's when they were like, oh, you've got your own style. Like you could do this. And I was like,
Mhm.
no. And then talking to Robert, like we had that whole conversation. And at the time I we were just living in a little tiny house here on the ranch. And so he let me use his office up at the actual ranch's office, his office in there. It's pretty cool because it used to be the enclosed porch. So like it's just got windows all the way around. So he just put me a table in there and was like, get to it. And I was like, okay. He was like, you can do it. I believe in you. I was like, okay, all right. So I just started with one thing, and some of it was self-taught. It was a lot of those times where I was like, oh, I can make that. It was like I saw a bag when I was like at Walmart, and I'd be like, that's a cute shape. I kind of like that. I could kind of do something with that. And then that's kind of how it like progressed. And then I just always, anytime I made something, I made a pattern and I kept it. Every time I would start making it, I would make that pattern because at one time I made something, I was like, this is so cute. And then I went to make it again and was like,
I don't know how.
yeah, like, what do I have to start? Are you kidding me? So I learned quickly, always make a pattern. So that's a tip for makers out there. You're making anything, even if it's going to turn out like crap, start with the pattern. But anyway, so it just kind of evolved from there. And I would say it was just, like people that I knew buying from me for a while. And then I decided to do a show in Vegas. And like during this time, we had moved to Caddo, Oklahoma, like Eastern Oklahoma, which is actually the original ranch. That's 1868. It was like, it was still like Choctaw Indian territory at the time. Like, it's a really cool, the ranch has the coolest history. Like, it's pretty neat. But anyway, so it's the original ranch. So we were living there, and we actually have like an old well house. And at the bottom of the well house, it was like our washer and dryer because we didn't have a washer in the house we were living in. It was in the old well house. And so I was just working in there. And so it's really cool because I just have always worked on these like cool places on this like historic ranch. So it's been lots of inspiration that way. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I was working out of there. Had some customers, but like friends and family would all buy for me, very supportive. And then I decided to do Vegas. That was an undertaking.
Yeah.
Well, that was an ulcer. Okay. Like, man, I've only
Yes.
done it once, if that tells you anything. But I went there and I made so many new like friends and customers. Just like the network I grew from putting myself out there was so cool. And then I made backpacks. And then I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know if there was anybody else making backpacks actually. I just had somebody asked me, and I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, I can make a backpack. And so I made it, and then it like blew up from there. So basically I had a product, I think. I think that's kind of how it happened. I had a product that was new, original, nobody else had done it, and then it just took off from there. And that was in 2017, I believe, 2018, early 2018. I believe maybe. And yeah, it just took off. And I could not make enough. Could not make enough product. I still to this day cannot make enough backpacks. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it took off. That's how it started, and it blew up quickly. And we moved. I don't even know how many times my husband and I moved in that period. So it was just, and I had babies, and whew, it was a lot. There's been a lot happened in the last 5 years.
I was actually just thinking
Well,
about that, like, your timeline. I'm like, dang, they've done more in 5 years than I've done, like, 15.
Girl, I don't recommend. I do not recommend. It was so like, man, I don't know what it is about Robert and I. It's probably just like it's toxic. You shouldn't do it this way. But we are just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Come on. Like we don't have that like, okay, let's slow down, let's plan this out, let's do all this. We're just like, nope, let's go. And that's just how we do everything. That's how we move. We moved into this house without buying a single box. Like, I'm pretty sure we moved into the same one candlestick at a time. We were like, let's just
Oh
do
my
it.
goodness.
Come on, that's fine. And then, yeah, and like our marriage just survived all that. So I'm like, that's a testament in itself because I don't even know. We still aren't moved in. I don't know. Just how we roll. We just are not like afraid of doing things, like there's not one of us that's like, hey, we should slow down and like work this out. Like, we don't do that. I wish we did, but we don't. We don't do that. So yeah, like quick, hard and fast timeline would be like, got married or started business, moved, got married, a month later, pregnant. Um, which we were older, I will say, like I was 28 when we got married. So we knew that like we weren't going to be waiting 5 or so years, and he's 3 years old.
right.
We knew we weren't going to wait around to have kids, but I was like, we're going to be married. But so we like had so then I was pregnant, we moved again, was still working a leather business. Robert was like going to horse shows, like he was starting another bit, like he was starting the Port Annie in the meat business. Then because I was pregnant, we wanted to like be near family. So we decided to move back from Caddo. Like we moved so many little times. So we moved back from Caddo here. Had Coleman. Then I bought a storefront downtown, renovated that, moved downtown, opened a storefront, had a baby. It's like, I don't even know. It's such a blur. And then, yeah, we've just grown and gone and done. And then we thought long and hard if we should have two, because Coleman's such a wild child. And I was like, but we were like, yeah, we can't have one kid. We gotta have two. So then we had B girl, and she is way more child than I ever thought Coleman could be. I was like, okay. She is a mess. She's so fun, but well, that girl is crazy. But
Second kid thing.
Truly, I swear.
man, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really having a hard time adjusting to two kids. Like that's been the hardest adjustment for me is two kids. Like I've loved it so much, but as far as like my own personal things and like trying to get back into leather and trying to like that's really hard when they're still little. Like,
Mhm.
because like I just recently put B in daycare because I was kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I've got to get back to like doing my things, and I've got to get back to working just because I enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I want to just be like sitting at home with the baby. But that girl is into everything. Like she is that kid. You cannot work with her. Like I could get some stuff done with Coleman.
No. Yeah.
If big girl's in the house, she's like, ma'am, excuse me. no. Try again. So I recently put her back in. So now I'm just kind of trying to find my groove again, I'm just trying to see like how to get back into things now. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But yeah, we've done a lot of living in our last 5 years. I'm kind of hoping we knocked all the crazy, like the day, this is crazy. So we wanted to build this house. We drew out our own house plans. This was our forever home. Like it was here on the ranch. Like that's the thing about building on a generational ranch. Like you, when you build that house, that's what you're getting. Like you can't, like that's what you get. So we were very like thoughtful about that at least. Like we spent a couple years dreaming and plotting and planning. And actually some family friends that live in Eastern Oklahoma that have built everything on the ranch. They were on this big like $1 million project and they were like, yeah, I don't know, it may be years before we can get to you, if ever. And we were like, okay, well, we're okay with waiting because this is our forever home. So we want it to be the people that we trust to build it. And so we had no idea. And I was 9 months pregnant. And his name's Rick. Uh, Rick and Waylon and Luke, his two sons. It's a dad and two sons that own the construction company, and they're incredible. Like everybody needs them in their life. But anyway, they they messaged and said, "Hey, we're on our way. If you guys are still ready for us, we're on our way. We'll be there." It was Sunday night, and they said we'll be there Monday morning. And we were like, "What? Oh my gosh!" Like we were ready. Like everything was ready to go. We were just literally waiting on them. We were like so excited. And Robert looked at me and he said, "Do not calve tonight. Do not." I was like, "Okay, like done. Okay." The next day, they were pulling in to start plotting everything. I had to head to the hospital. I had B
Oh my word.
they started our house. Like it was so funny. My mom had
Oh
to
my
pick me up at the
goodness.
hospital because Robert was like, "Lauren, like, are you having her the second?" I'm like, no, I'm not having her the second, but like she is coming today. And he was like, "Okay." So he had to get them completely lined out. My mom met with me. They admitted me into a room at 5 o'clock at the hospital. He pulled in as they admitted me, and I had her at 10 o'clock. So like it was like, I mean, same day. So we joke that our house is the exact same age as B because
Aw.
I'm like, that's how we do things. Like that's how Robert and I's lives are. Like we cannot do like pace things out. It's like everything at one time. We'll just do it all at once. But
Well, you know
we're
what? If you can make it work, that's the way to do it. I think it's so much. I mean, I wish like me and my husband were more like that because we are almost sometimes we are too careful and then we don't do it. We're like, well, we can't like if we can't see like all the moving parts and everything coming together, then it's like, oh, we better not. And that's not good either. So,
yes, but see, that's like you have like two planners, and me and Robert are two dreamers. So it's like you really need a planner and a dreamer, like for the ultimate. But that's okay. It works either way. But like, yeah, there are times when I've cried because I'm like, this is not working. But it's fine. We get through it, and we laugh about it later because we're like, that was a little nuts, wasn't it? Like, yeah, it was. But we're like, okay, it's fine. We're
I
all
feel
good.
like I feel like you have a really good support system though, like where you're at. And
Very, yeah, and
so,
my family actually just moved here, last year, my parents, and they live 20 minutes down the road, and then, like, his whole family lives right here, so, like, we are so close. Like, we have so much support, it's amazing, like, we are so, so blessed with the amount of support we have, that's for sure.
That's awesome. I know that we talked a little bit about the leather business and kind of like slowing down as you've had kids and kind of creating for fun instead of creating because you had to, or we're trying to bring an income that way. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing now and like how your business has evolved since becoming a mom and a little bit about what you're dabbling in as far as affiliate marketing?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I You know, this is a big problem in the Western, like, it's a big problem everywhere, but like, I feel like in the Western fashion industry, there's a lot of like Chinese knockoffs. There's a lot of people like ripping other people off. Well, like, I have been ripped off so many times that like, I mean, not just like, oh, somebody else made a backpack. That's fine. I love it. I think that's great. I love if people draw inspiration from me. That's not a big deal. But like, if it's down to like the details, it is heartbreaking because it's like you spent so much time. It's like your baby. And for somebody to be like, yeah, I like that. I'm going to copy it. I'm like, but like, how are you calling yourself a maker doing that? That's not okay. It's not
Mhm.
like you're wasting your time. You're wasting your talents by not being yourself and being authentic to what you want to do and like creating something unique. Because that's what I like about what I do. Like, I feel like things I make are different, or they were. But then, then you have American Darling. That's like, you can't do anything about that. Like, you're just like,
Yeah.
sitting ducks, man. Like, they just rip it off and slap it on something and you're like, "Oh, okay." And then people eat it up and so you're like, "Am I wasting my time? Like this is so draining creatively, it's draining emotionally." Like so I got really
Mhm.
burnt out for a little bit because of that. And then also I just got to where I like things were in such high demand, which is a blessing. Like I'm trying not to be like, but it was just like I could not satisfy the rush of people that wanted things. So I was trying my best to like basically push out as much product as I possibly could. And I thought about it and I'm like, that's not really what I want. Like that's not what I like for my brand. Like I want quality over quantity. And so like
Mm.
my hope is that like people that really love my stuff would wait because they know that like they're getting something special and like something that I really
Yeah.
thought into. That
Mm.
and that's rung true so far. Obviously, there's people that are like, man, I want one and I need one now. I'm having a baby. Yeah, I need to buy from somebody else. That's fine. And there's enough people in the world to buy. It's not the end of the world. But um, I still have people that are like, girl, I've been waiting 4 years to get a backpack from you and I'm still holding out. And I'm like, that is
Mhm.
so special to me. It's so special to me. Like, I love
Me.
that. And that honestly, that is the kind of thing that like pushes me to still do it. Like when I am at a rodeo and a random girl walks up to me and says, "Hey, I've followed you for so long. I've been trying to get something for you. I'm still holding out hope. So like, when are you going to put stuff out?" That's when I'm like, okay. Like that stuff is what pushes me and motivates me to want to keep doing it. Like it really does. Like that gives me that creative like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get back in the game. So, I'll never ever stop because I love it. I just love making it. But I have
Mhm.
found that slowing down and making more like thoughtful pieces, you know, I enjoy that more and I get more out of it. And I think, well, in the long run, my customers will too because they're getting
Mhm.
something that's really quality. And so I'm that person that like every time I make something, I make it better. Like so, even the backpack, the last backpack I made is going to be better than the one right before that. Just because I always tried to like, all right, I didn't like this as much. I'm going to just change this stitch here, or I'm going to add this here, or I
Mhm.
like when I use the bag, I adjust this, or whatever it may be. I'm always trying to make it better, and I love that. And I feel like that's that transition into like being a maker into an artist kind of probably I feel like.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a maker. Like everybody can make things and that's wonderful. Like I love it. I'm a maker in a lot of other categories that I probably shouldn't be dabbling in. Like I love to dabble in silver work. I will never be a silver artist, but maybe I could make it, like, but I feel like when
Mhm.
you start really trying to hone in on those little tiny things and just always challenge yourself, that's when it becomes more of an art. And I think that's where I'm at with my leather work. Like I would rather it be more of an art than like a business I'm trying to like make $1 billion at, like it's those things where it was like, I need to hire a bunch of people to help me pump out the same things, or I need to slow down and cut back and pull in. And that's kind of what I chose to do. And I had like, I've started which I never thought I would be doing like affiliate marketing stuff, but, I'm with a company that I really love. I love their products. I have an autoimmune disorder. Like I have another one right now. We're trying to figure out what's going on with that. But I have celiac, which with celiac, you end up getting multiple issues. So I actually have two, but because I have the skin one that goes along with it. But I've got something else going on with it. But I'm not sure. We're still trying to figure it out. But I had such bad like joint pain from celiac, and
Mhm.
like I'm with a company called Manatech, and we sell cellular health products, which they have like patents. It's not like, like, oh, like lose weight fast or whatever, or it's this or that or whatever. It's actually
Mhm.
just like clean quality products. Like, Kenzie, it's just like clean, straightforward, like this is what it is. And there's science behind it. So I'm like, yeah, I can
Mhm.
like I can't get behind the fads, like jump on the train or do this. Like
Yeah.
but like something that is like long standing, I can do that. And I've loved
Yeah.
it. I'll never stop taking it for myself. So that's why I'm like, why wouldn't I
I'm
sell?
hooked on it.
Yes.
Yeah. I've never stayed with something this long and could tell a difference. And if I run out, like, I'm in trouble because I notice.
Yes, like my brain fog, like my joint pain, like all that is so much better. Like my energy, especially like 2 kids and everything that we do, I'm like dragon all the time. And it helps me. Like I hate running out of it. And I know that I do. Like, girl, I can't even finish a course of antibiotics because I'm like I just forget, but I do not forget that. And it's because it makes
Yeah.
me feel better, and it's easy to do when it makes you feel better. But anyway, so I've been dabbling in that. I've been working that and I've loved that. And then just doing my leather on the side with it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just doing leather at my own pace and then selling Manatech products, and that's kind of what I'm doing, and just slowly trying to find a new rhythm of life. This is a hard season of life I'm in, and I'm trying to give myself as much grace as possible. Just because I'm still navigating the 2 kids' waters.
Well, I will say your work is worth the wait because I was one of those that waited 2 years for a backpack. And then when I turned 30, Zach got me one from you. And it is my favorite accessory to date. Like, I carry my bag every day. It's my work bag. Everywhere I go, everyone's like, "Where do I get that?" I'm like, "You don't just get this. Like, someone made this. Like, you need to go to her website and just wait because it's worth it."
I
It's like my favorite thing. It's something I'll carry forever. It's so unique and personal, like, to the stitching, like, it's my name or my nickname is stitched on the strap. Like, it's beautiful. I'm like 2 years later, I'm still so happy with it.
I'm so glad. I love it. I really look back and I'm like, I have made so many bags. It's crazy. But it's funny because like I'll be at a ranch rodeo and like there'll be a girl and she'll be like toting her little kids and she'll have her Native West backpack on and I'm like,
I made that.
Oh.
baby, my baby out in the wild, just all grown up, like it's so funny because I'm like, it's just weird, and I'll forget I even made that bag that looked like that because I made so many.
Mhm.
I'm like, I just like it. I just like being a little piece of people's lives, I guess.
Yeah,
Like, especially when it's for your baby, it's like you want all these like cool custom things, and so. But it's something you can use forever. You don't just need it for
exactly.
or whatever. But I've loved it. I'm hoping to just keep it going and keep it being to be. I'm trying to figure out the best way to like sell. Like I don't know, people are doing like auction style, raffle style, like shop up. I don't know. I'm still working on all that. I'm trying my best right now to just not like completely like fall off social media because that's pretty much what I did for like a year. I was like pregnant, had a
Mhm.
baby, had a toddler. I was like, yeah, I can't do social right now. That's a full-time job. Social media is a full
Yeah, it is.
and
It
even just
is.
to like actively participate in it for yourself, not even as a business. It's like a full-time job. Like,
Mhm.
so trying to work on that, but
Well, I do think you've built up such a loyal clientele and, like, fan base. I mean, you've got some fangirls out there.
I know
We're 2 of them.
I love it. Like
But
it's
but
so
I think you can just hop right in and just, like, blow up again. So
Seriously.
I'm ready for it. But you know what's funny is like they all know me. I'm such a weirdo. Like I'm so awkward and weird. Like that's just my person. I've always been that way as long as I can remember. And I've embraced it at 32. I've just embraced that I'm just a weirdo and I'm cool with it. But I will see people and they'll be like, Are you Native West?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like, "Don't do that. That makes me feel so weird. Like don't fangirl. It's so weird." And I'm like, "How are you? What are you doing?" Like it's still weird that like people would think not that there's like a lot, there's been like a handful of people do that, but it's still funny because I'm like, social media has made it, to where you're like, you see it, but I do it too. Like girls that I follow that I
Mhm.
think are so cool. And I'm like, you're a real person in real life. This is so cool, And I'm like,
Mhm.
we're all just living life, just trying to survive this economy. You know what I mean? Not to get on that.
Right?
Yeah.
Mind it.
We're
We're all
all
just
feeling
we're all
that.
struggling in our own special ways.
For real. So I'm just going to jump ahead because we kind of answered a lot of these, but
Mhm.
what I would say, what is the most fulfilling thing that has happened in your business?
There's been so many things happen that I really like have been special to me that I love, but probably what we just talked about, probably that like people like and care enough about something that I created to wait years for. Like, I can't wait a year for anything. Like, I'm so impatient. I can't wait a year for anything in life. But I follow makers the same thing, like I've loved their work for so long. So when I finally get something, it's really special to me. And I think the fact that like I've made it to the point in my I don't know, in my art that people care enough to like want to wait that long, or like they're like,
Mhm.
"Okay, I'm okay waiting as to get something from you." And I think that's really fulfilling to me as a maker, to know that other people care about things that I create as much as I do. I think that's the coolest part for me. And also that make like people want to buy something. That still blows my mind. Like this many years later, somebody wanting to spend a lot of their hard-earned money on something that I made is really cool. I just think that's special. I don't think it'll ever stop being special to me because um, money is not easy to come by these days. So for somebody to like,
Yeah.
I know what that's worth. I know how much work goes into making that. And so for you to be like, I want to give it to you for that, I'm like, what? Okay, this is great. What? It's very special, and it's very like humbling to me, you know. So that's probably the most fulfilling part about being a maker, is just other people loving it as much as you do.
Well, it just goes to show, like, you're a master at your craft, I think, too. You're an artist, but you've mastered that, and that's why people want it, because they know the quality, and they know it's gonna last, and it's worth something.
Thank you. Thanks. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I have so much to learn still. Like I sometimes get on YouTube and be like, how are they doing that? Like, but I'm always studying, always learning. So nothing's ever perfect. But kind of the cool part about handmade, it's not perfect. There's always like, and with leather, nothing's perfect with leather. And I like that. I think leather, that's why leather is my medium, because I'm like, it's never perfect, but it's cool. And I think
Yeah.
that's my kind of people, like imperfect people that are cool in their own ways. That's my thing. So that's why leather's my medium.
Alright, well, at the end of every show, we do 10 rapid fire questions, and so we'll just jump into those, and then we'll wrap it up. So,
Right.
question 1, what are you reading right now?
I am doing, it's rapid fire. I'm sorry. The Bible recap. I'm doing the Bible recap. That's what I'm focusing on with Tara Lee Cobble.
All right, sagebrush or blue stem?
Ooh, sagebrush.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love sage.
Your fa I was gonna say, Arizona probably got you on that. Favorite part of being a homesteader or rancher?
Um, babies, baby cows, baby horses, the
I
best.
love I love spring babies.
Oh,
They're the best.
spring of the ranch is like, it's like magic, magical.
What's one thing you have on your bucket list?
Um, I'm in a season of kids, so this is hard. I want to be a breakaway roper. That's on my bucket list. I want to break.
Awesome.
It's always been
Oh, girl, it's so much fun. It is a rush. It's so much fun.
my husband's he's sorting off calves like this week. So we'll
Cool.
see.
Awesome. Okay, what is your favorite steak cut and how do you like it cooked?
Uh, tenderloin. It's my favorite. Ribeye second. Tenderloin, medium rare.
Okay.
What is your favorite wildflower?
Indian paintbrush. We have them everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, I've got a vase. We go flower picking. You can see it right there. We go flower picking in the evenings in the buggy, and we just
Yep. I got some.
yeah, it's just like that.
Okay. Log cabin or old farmhouse?
Oh man, that's hard. Log cabin.
I was gonna say your house. It seems like you kind of really like the cabin vibes.
Yes.
I
And
would. I love your house. It's like, oh my
thank
gosh.
you. I'm gonna do a house tour soon, but it's all hodgepodge right now. But the house we lived in, I'll send y'all a picture of it later. In Caddo, the original house over there, we call it the big house. It's a gigantic log cabin, and it is so cool, really neat. So that's why I had to say log cabin, because back to the roots.
All right, favorite recipe or meal to make?
Man, we are like, our go-to is steak and veggie. Like, we love steak, and like, honestly, like a steak with roasted potatoes and steamed broccoli is like my favorite meal. Like, I cannot get enough of that.
So good. Yeah. Okay, have you ever had an animal that had a big impact on your life or was particularly memorable?
I've had some horses like that, I'm gonna be honest with you, but like, as far as animal that's been the most impactful, it's my dog Willie Nelson.
I was about to say Willie Nelson.
It's Willie Nelson, that dog. Oh my gosh. I want to write a children's book about Willie Nelson, but I don't know that it's proper, because that dog has been, oh my gosh. I love him so much, but he's such a turd. That's why I love him.
Willie has been around for a minute. Like, I remember Willie from like pre-Robert.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Willie has been through every high and low in my life. He has been through the hardest parts of my life, and he has been through the best moments of my life. He has like helped me raise my kids. He has been through every move. He moved to Arizona with me. He lived in Arizona for a little hot minute. He tried to die a few times there. Rattlesnake bit, cholla cactus through his tongue, jumped off a buggy with Shad, like tried to like be run over. Truck drivers picked him up on the side of the road, and he was in a truck driver's wheel, and they had to call me to come meet him. He recently got attacked by coyotes, and was like, he was like hanging by a thread. His neck was hanging, survived that. Like, this dog will not die. He's the toughest. He's got 100 lives. Like, he's so funny. And yeah, he was born, he's a 2013 model, April 20th is his birthday. Oh my gosh. So what's he going to be? 7 and 4. What is that? 11? He'll be 11 this month. So I'm hoping he's got 11 more in him. I don't think he does, but I'm hoping he's got 11 more in him.
Aw.
Oh, Willie, it's going to be a tragic day. Everybody is like terrified of something happening to that dog, because it will not be good. It will not be good.
Yeah.
That's the dog that changed it all for me. There'll never be another Willie.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, share one random fact about you.
Oh no, I'm trying to think of a good one. I can I can dang near stick my tongue up my nose. like Lilo and Stitch style, you know what I mean? Like, up there. My kid can do it too. I was like,
that's amazing.
That takes talent. I can't do that.
It's a good party trick for sure.
Well, Lauren, we have enjoyed having you. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast with us. Can you tell our listeners like where they can find you, whether that's social media or your website, and we'll be sure to link it in our show notes as well.
Yeah, I just changed my handle on Instagram. It was a little long, and I was change it up, but it's Native West by Lauren on TikTok, or on Instagram. Facebook is Lauren Forst. TikTok is at Lauren B. Forst, and then our meat company, Stuart Ranch meatcompany.com. And then nativewesttradingcompany.com, nativewesttradingco.com, nativewesttradingco.com. It's my website. So if you can remember all those.
We will link them up. We'll link them up. They can
Link
go
them
find
up,
them.
girl. Link them up. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I had fun visiting with y'all.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you so
being on.
much.
It's been so great to get to know you a little better, and I'm just so excited for everyone to hear your story.
Thank you. Thank y'all. And thank you guys so much. I hope y'all have the best day.
You too. Thanks for talking with us.
Bye, y'all.